When people find out I have a 3D printer, they often have questions and I have to explain 3D printing to them. So I decided to make some videos that cover the basics of how 3D printers work and what they're used for. In this first video, I'm going to explain the basics of 3D printing, and in the end, I'll show you how you can get started in 3D printing without even owning your own 3D printer. So what is 3D printing? At its simplest, it's a form of additive building, which means material is added together to form the final object. For instance, in the most common type of consumer-level 3D printers, like the one I have, the raw material is melted, fed through a nozzle, and then laid out to build up the object one layer at a time. And different 3D printers can support different material types. And nowadays, you can find 3D printed parts in many different kinds of plastic, metal, ceramic, stone, and even find jewelry like silver, gold, and platinum. So next you might be wondering, how do you tell the 3D printer what to print? Well, you have to start with a 3D model, which is a computer file that describes the object you want to print. You can find pre-made models all over the internet, some that cost money and others you can download and print for free. For example, the website Thingiverse has a vast collection of free 3D models created by the 3D printing community. But the real power comes from making your own 3D models. There are a bunch of different programs to make those models, and they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. Fortunately, there are several powerful programs that are either free or available with a free license for hobbyists and makers. The most popular of these are SketchUp, Fusion 360, Sculptris, and Blender. Once you have a 3D model ready to print, you have to run the file through another program that converts the model into the set of commands that your 3D printer will run. Then you pass that file of commands over to your printer and wait until your object is finished printing, which can often take a few hours. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can start experimenting with 3D printing without owning your own 3D printer. First of all, you can start by playing around with the modeling programs that are free and get a feel for designing your own 3D models. Check the video description for links to the most popular free 3D modeling software. And if you design a model you actually want to print, there are some cheaper alternatives to buying your own printer. For starters, you can try to find a local makerspace to let you use their 3D printer. And a great place to start looking is at your local public library. I know around me, the Harold Washington Library, which is Chicago's largest library, has a great makerspace with 3D printers that are open to any library member for a really small per-use fee. And even in the suburbs, even though my town doesn't have a 3D printer in its library, the town next door does, and members of my library can use them. So check in your area and see what's available near you. Now, if you want a more professional print done, you can use Shapeways, which is a great site that lets you upload your 3D model, and then they will print the model in the material of your choice. In fact, that's how I printed my first ever 3D object. Before I jumped into buying my own 3D printer, I designed this object, and Shapeways printed it in high definition acrylate, which can print small objects in high detail. Seeing something in real life that started just as something I created in the computer pretty much got me hooked on 3D printing. So if you think you might enjoy 3D printing as a hobby, start playing around with making your own models and see if you like it. Well, that covers today's topics. I hope this helps explain some of the basics of how 3D printers work. In the second video of this series, I'll go into more detail about the different types of 3D printers and how they work. And in the final video, I'll share some of the cool ways 3D printers are being used right now. If you want to find out when new videos come out, subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button. And if you want to learn the basics of Fusion 360, I have some videos that can get you started. Check the description for links to those. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.